We're going to tackle one of the biggest, messiest challenges in marketing today. How do you actually use AI to get ahead instead of just, creating more chaos? It seems like everyone's experimenting, but very few are really nailing it. So today, we're going to lay out a plan to fix that. So check this out. This story from the source material is, well, it's probably going to sound painfully familiar to a lot of you. An exec walks out of a big meeting with the engineering team, all excited to build a new AI tool, only to find out the analytics team had already built the exact same thing. It's the perfect example of the problem. You have smart people with good intentions, but they're working in silos, and all that energy just creates noise, not progress. And that really gets to the heart of the matter, right? This is the choice every organization is facing. Without a real plan, AI doesn't magically solve your problems. It just makes the chaos you already have move faster. Our goal is to get from the left side of the screen to the right, to move away from duplicated effort and fragmentation and toward a coordinated strategy where everything you do builds on itself. So here's the big lesson. The one thing to remember if you forget everything else. Structure has to come before scale. You just can't throw a bunch of AI tools at messy processes and hope for the best. It doesn't work. That's why we're going to walk through 3 really powerful frameworks that are designed to build that structure from the ground up. All right, first up, the AI SEO City. I love this one. It's a framework designed to solve what is probably the single biggest obstacle to getting AI off the ground, which is just getting everybody, from marketing to product to engineering, to speak the same language. The real genius of this idea is its simplicity. By using an analogy that everyone gets, like a city, you create a shared mental model. Suddenly, an engineer and a brand marketer can have a conversation and instantly understand how their individual pieces fit into the bigger picture. It's an incredible shortcut to alignment. So let's actually build this thing out, starting with a single house in our city, your website. And what's the most important part of any house? The foundation. For us, that's technical SEO. If you get this part wrong, everything you build on top of it is just going to be shaky.
Okay, foundation's poured. Now we need to give the house some purpose, some structure. That's where the rooms come in. Your content hubs, they're the rooms of your house. This is where people actually live, where they find value and where they spend their time.
And finally, you can build the most amazing house, but if it has zero curb appeal, nobody's ever going to bother to come inside. That's your off-site SEO. It's all those signals from around the web, the links, the mentions, that tell search engines, hey, this place is worth checking out.
And this is where it all clicks into place. This is how you take a cool analogy and turn it into an actual actionable plan. Every platform in your city, your TikTok, your YouTube channel, it's a building. And for each building, you assign a team lead, you give them a clear metric they're responsible for, and they own the roadmap. All of a sudden, implementing AI isn't some vague concept. It's a coordinated, accountable system.
Okay, so you've got everyone aligned with your city plan. Awesome. But now, what do you actually do? What should you automate? This brings us to our second framework, SOAR. And you can think of this as a practical filter to make sure you're using automation intelligently without, breaking the stuff that's already working.
SOAR is an acronym for Streamline, Orchestrate, Automate, and Reposition. Let's quickly walk through what each of those means. First, and this is so important, streamline. You cannot automate chaos. The best, easiest, and most valuable things to automate are the processes you've already figured out and standardized manually. The rule of thumb here is simple. If you haven't done it by hand first to prove it actually works, don't you dare try to automate it.
Next up, orchestrate. This is where we loop right back to our AI SEO city model. Because you've already defined who owns what, you can now set up predictable rhythms, things like weekly syncs or quarterly reviews, to manage all the moving pieces. That predictability is what makes change feel manageable instead of scary.
Third, we automate monotony. And this distinction is absolutely critical. You want to automate the boring, repetitive, rule-based stuff like drafting metadata or clustering keywords. But you want to augment, not replace, the work that requires human judgment, like brand nuance and high-level strategy. AI is a tool for the strategist, not a replacement of the strategist.
And if you're wondering if this is all worth the effort, get this. The source material points out that by automating just these simple monotonous tasks, you can save each person on your team around 200 hours a year. That's 5 full work weeks. Think about what your best people could do with an extra 5 weeks.
Which brings us perfectly to the final step, reposition. This is the whole point of automation. It's not so you can do less work, it's so you can free up your smartest people from tedious tasks to focus on the high-impact stuff, like building out the AI SEO city and thinking about what's coming next in search.
Now this brings us to our third and final framework, RISE. And it's designed to answer what might be the single most important question of all. With all the things we could be doing, are we actually working on the right things?
RISE gives you 4 filters to pressure test any new AI initiative: reach, intent, scale, and execution. The idea is, if a project can't pass all 4 of these checks, it simply doesn't get the green light.
First up, reach. This is about being brutally honest about the potential impact. Before you build a single thing, you have to try and model the business opportunity in actual numbers. This one filter alone will kill off so many pet projects and forces everyone to ask that vital question: is the juice really worth the squeeze here?
Second, intent. This is a huge mental shift. For years, so much of SEO was about targeting keywords. Now, with how smart AI search is becoming, we have to think bigger. It's about designing an experience that solves a user's real problem. The new systems reward depth and clarity, not just pumping out more and more content. Third is scale. And this is what really separates a one-off tactic from a true strategy. A great idea shouldn't just win once. It should become part of a system that wins over and over again. You're trying to build compounding advantages, because if you can't repeat it predictably, it was just a flash in the pan. And finally, execution. Look, a brilliant strategy that just lives in a slide deck is basically worthless. Execution is about taking that strategy and embedding it directly into the tools your team already uses every day, like Jira or Asana. You need clear owners, you need clear definitions of success, because automation without accountability, well, that's just risk.
And really, this quote just ties it all together beautifully. Winning with AI is not going to be about who can generate the most content the fastest. It's not a race to create more stuff. The teams that are going to dominate in this new era, they'll be the ones building the strongest, most intelligent systems. So that leaves us with one final question to ask yourself and your team. When you look at what you're doing with AI right now, be honest. Is your strategy building durable systems, or is it just accelerating randomness? Because the answer to that question will decide if you get real results or just more chaos.